Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. It's Maria. Today we are making some spring wreaths. This is part one. I will be posting part two later this week or next week. So we're gonna start with our first wreath. Our first wreath is a sunflower wreath. This one I used the large ring from the 3-pack that Dollar Tree has. It's like a 3-pack of gold rings. This is the larger ring. So this is the floral foam, but this is the one that's just the one piece. And I took the plastic off of it and I kind of like pushed the wreath through the floral foam. Like I said before, this floral foam is very light. It's not hard to push through or whatever, but this was pretty easy. But once I pushed it through and I had enough of the wreath of the ring in there, then I did use some glue to leave it to hold it in place. Now I wanted to make sure that I had like where the wreath connected, like the ring where it connected, I wanted that to be underneath the floral foam. So once I was done with that and I used my hot glue and I glued it in place, then I get my florals and I start to put it on. Now I have sunflowers that I'm using for this. These sunflowers I got from Joann fabrics. I got these some time ago, but I did have them and I thought this was like a full bouquet, but this one only had 4, so I think I had used like 2 on a different project and didn't realize that I was missing 2, but it was fine. I worked with what I had. So I grabbed these sunflowers and I started to put them on the foam, and I had other flowers that I also put on here just to fill up and cover up this foam. But it turned out really cute regardless what flowers I put, but the bigger flowers are the sunflowers. This is why I call it a sunflower wreath. But I did use some hot glue to hold the greenery in place because I wanted to make sure that none of the flowers were going to come out, especially this piece, because this piece doesn't have like a large pick to stay in place, but the sunflower does. So I didn't want the other stuff to fall out, so whatever didn't have like a long thing is what I glued, which was only the leaves that I glued on there. But I did have other yellow flowers. These I also got at Joann Fabrics, and I think this one turned out really cute. It was simple. I do end up adjusting the flowers because I want them facing outward instead of facing up. I wanted somebody to see, like anybody that will walk by, to see the sunflowers on the wreath. But I think this one turned out really cute. Um, the little added flowers that I did add were from the dollar store, and this one had like a butterfly on it, and I thought it was really cute, so I just added that on there because I wanted the sunflower to be on the sun. I wanted this butterfly to be on the sunflower. Correction, the butterfly to be on a sunflower. But I think this one turned out really cute. In the end, regardless of what I put in it, you make this however you want to your likings. But yeah, this is how this one turned out. I'm happy with it. So if you want to try it, feel free to try it. But this was pretty easy, pretty quick. If you want to throw something together, this is like as easy as it can get. So move on to the next one. Okay, so our second wreath is a eucalyptus wreath. So I had this burlap that I bought at Walmart. These are like under $5. They're not even that expensive. But Walmart has like a variety of colors of these burlap ribbons, rows. This is a 6-inch by 10 yards. So it's a pretty big. I've used the other colors that I've had at various times, but I ended up making 2 of these. I only end up using one, but I cut this into 8 inches and then I lap it like I was making a bow, because that's what I did. I made a bow, and then I used some zip ties. You can get zip ties from the dollar store, but they also, I got these at Harbor Freight for like $2, like a pack of 100 or a pack of 50 for like $2. But I was trying to figure out what I was gonna do with the bows because they turned out cute. But I said, you know what? Let me just get some green because I had green, and I cut a piece of green and I put that towards the back, like on the back of it, because I wanted to have like some green with the yellow to make it look like green leaves in the back. So I end up putting that together. And like I said, I make two of these because I wanted to make something, but then at that moment, I guess it just didn't come to mind what I was going to make with it or what I was going to do with it. But I knew I wanted to put this on a wreath. So once I put this together and I use another zip tie to hold it in place, I do put this to the side because then I want to bring out my my rings because I want to make the eucalyptus wreath. So this has, like before, it has three rings. For this one, I use the middle one, which is in between like the large and the small. Now I had this other one that I was thinking about using, but I said, you know what, never mind. I'm not going to use it. I'm going to use this for the other wreath. So I grabbed my eucalyptus picks that I had gotten from the dollar store, and I start to cut a few pieces off and I start to put it around. Now I use a few zip ties to hold these in place. Now I think I cut them like, I think I have about 6 on one side and 6 on the other. I bought about 3 of these, well, 3 of each, because if you notice, there one is a little bit bigger than the other one. They have like a lighter green on it. So I ended up using, I think it's 3 on one side of the bigger ones, 3 on the other, and then I add like 3 of the smaller ones on there. But I do use the zip tie to hold them in place. As you can see, that's what I'm using. Then once I put them all together in place, whatever was like, whatever had a gap, I do put some more zip ties on there. But you can't really see the zip ties because the zip ties are like a clear, and then, you know, eucalyptus ones, they're green, so you're not gonna see it unless you actually get closer and look at it. But that's what I did with this. But I do end up trying to cover up the best that I can. But keep watching so you can see how this one turns out, because I think this one turns out really cute too. Okay, so once I was done zip tying all of the eucalyptus onto this ring, I then grabbed my twine and I start to wrap it around the end that I left open. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is because I didn't want to add the bow at the end of this and then have a hard time. Like, you can still see the picks. So I wrapped this around, but I also wrapped it around the picks so you couldn't see the ones that were hanging out, as well as the zip tie that's at the end. So once I was done putting that together, because I do glue the first little piece of the twine onto the ring, and then I wrap it all the way around and work my way back to the beginning, and then I add some glue, and then that's how I end that one. But I don't have any glue in between there. So once I put that on there, then I grab my bow and then I put that in place. Now if you notice, the zip tie is still showing, so I do grab a zip tie to hold that in place, and then I grab some of the green and I wrap that in the middle of the bow just to hide the zip tie. You could have used, I mean, if you do this, I used the green to hide it. I could have used the yellow, but I chose not to. If you're doing this in different colors, you can match the color in the middle to cover the zip tie. You can either use the green or the yellow or whatever color you're using for this wreath. But that's what I ended up doing. I ended up tying it around the ring as well, so this bow is not going anywhere. After I was done with this, instead of hanging it like that, I do go back later, which I don't put on this one, but you'll see it when I do it on the next wreath. I do add like floral wire across it just to be like a hanging hook that I can hang this from on the door. But you see how that turns out, like in the picture. It actually turned out really cute. But I like this one as well. This one was also easy. It wasn't that hard. These were done in a few minutes. I know the video seems like it's longer, but I do cut a little bit when I'm editing the video, but it wasn't really that hard. Um, Whatever spots I felt like were still open, I do end up adding some zip ties at the end, like I'm doing here. But other than that, I think this turned out really cute. It was really simple, just like the sunflower one. If you want to just throw something together, inexpensive, go to the dollar store, get yourself some wreaths, and put this simple wreath together. This one turned out really cute. I hope you like guys try it and you like how it turns out. On to the next one. Okay, so our third and final wreath is a pocket wreath. So I use this ring. I also got this ring from the dollar store. I believe this ring is about 13, no, I'm sorry, 12 or 14 inches. Can't remember the size of it. But either way, I grab my burlap and I wrap it around. Now I wrap this burlap around twice, only because this burlap is 6 inches. If I had the 10-inch burlap, I would just be wrapping it around one time. Well, you know, like covering the front and back. So I do wrap this around twice, where so it's like twice in the front, twice in the back. But once I figured out how long I needed it and how I was gonna wrap it around, I used my scissors and I cut the size that I need. And then I grab my hot glue gun and I start gluing it in place. Now the reason why I use this specific ring is because I can use the hot glue gun to glue the burlap in place. I probably would have been able to do it with the gold ring, but I didn't want it to be that big. Um, this was like the perfect size that I wanted for it. So this size actually worked out perfect. But once I glue everything in place, front, then I wrap it around the second time, I glue it all in place. Now, if you're using the hot glue gun for the first time, please be careful because this heats up really hot and you will burn your fingers. That's why I use the scissors to push out the hot glue, push it down because the burlap is thin and it will go right through. Moving forward, I started to put this greenery in and these lavender picks from the dollar store, and they were staying in place. I'm not gonna lie, they were staying in place. It was actually looking really pretty. But when I put my lilies in, my lilies weren't staying in place. They started to move all over the place and I didn't like how that was looking. So I grabbed some floral foam that I had, and I cut it in half and I put that in the inside of the pocket because I wanted the flowers to stay in place. I did not want the flowers to move around while they were in there. So this was a lot easier when adding the other flowers because every time I was adding something in, they started to move and it just wasn't staying in place. So putting the floral foam in there actually worked out a lot better. I do end up bending the lilies forward, that way you're able to see them. But I add a variety of flowers in here. All of them are purple, a lavender, like really pretty colors. So I do add some eucalyptus in here, but I didn't feel like I had enough green, so I do go back and I start adding these leaves that also I got from the dollar store. But it actually brings it out a little bit more when you add the green in there. So I added these on the back. Also put them onto the floral foam so that can look really nice. Once I was done with that, I do a bow. I make a bow like I did with the yellow ribbon. I grab the purple burlap and I cut the pieces that I need, just the one piece. And then I grab some green and I do the whole zip tie and I tie it in place and so on. You saw me do that with the yellow one, so I'm not going to bore you to do it the same. The only thing different that I did with this one was that instead of putting the green in the middle to hold it in place onto the ring, I used the purple that I used for the bow, because I wanted the bow to be that one color. So that's the only difference that I did with this one that I didn't do with the other one, because the green, I added the green for the yellow, but I didn't want to add the green onto the purple, so I ended up doing the same thing here. Again, I wrap this around the ring so the bow doesn't move while it's on here and it doesn't fall or anything. So with this one, I grabbed some floral wire, and I did this with the previous Eucalyptus Wreath, but I did this after. So I did not record that part, but I'm showing you here that I do end up sliding it right where that ribbon is with the hot glue gun. I do end up gluing it in place. I do a little knot, then I turn it so the little twisty part is underneath that ribbon. And then I do add some hot glue gun just to hold it in place. So here I had this welcome sign that I painted red and never used it. This is the wire. No, I'm sorry. It's the metal one from the dollar store. The welcome sign. But I do end up going over the red with the purple. And after that dries, I do end up using my hot glue gun to glue it in place on top of the burlap, because I wanted it to be in place. So I don't put it straight across. I do tilt it like in an angle, because that's what I wanted to do. I just, didn't want to put it straight. I felt like putting it in an angle would have looked a lot better, and it did. So once I was done with that, that completed this one. I think this one turned out really cute. It's really pretty colors. But if you stayed to the end of this video, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for more. I have more spring wreaths to share with you. To the next one. Bye.